Have you ever sensed something unsettling behind a friend's smile? Quiet resentment, hiding behind their congratulatory words. Imagine discovering that someone you deeply trusted secretly hoped you'd stumble. Not because they disliked you, but because your happiness painfully reminded them of their own hidden inadequacies. Did you know over 70% of friendships don't end because of open conflicts or arguments? Instead, they silently collapse, eroded from within by jealousy. Nobody dares speak aloud. That's 7 out of every 10 friendships quietly destroyed by hidden envy. Relationships we believe to be strong, yet are silently corroding beneath the surface. Carl Jung, one of psychology's most insightful minds, called jealousy our shadow, a suppressed part of ourselves filled with uncomfortable truths, buried fears, and unmet dreams. Jung believed jealousy isn't merely wanting what someone else has. It's an unconscious acknowledgement of something crucial we lack within ourselves. The more we deny its existence, the more power our shadow quietly gains, secretly guiding our behaviors, damaging our relationships, and quietly sabotaging our happiness. Marie-Louise von Franz, Jung's closest student, vividly described envy as a misunderstood compulsion to achieve something within oneself that one has neglected. Think deeply about what that means. When someone secretly envies your success, relationship, or happiness, they're not merely wishing to take it from you. They're silently grieving their own unlived life, mourning their abandoned dreams, feeling helplessly inadequate. Yet envy rarely presents itself openly. Instead, it hides quietly behind politeness, humor, or praise, making it difficult to identify and even harder to address. Its power lies precisely in its silence, secretly eroding friendships, destroying trust, and turning relationships into hidden battlefields of emotional conflict. Reflect honestly for a moment. Have you ever quietly resented someone you genuinely cared for, wounded silently by their happiness without knowing why? The invisible enemy of jealousy isn't merely their shadow. It's inside all of us, quietly shaping our relationships, silently controlling our emotions, and secretly influencing our lives. But what happens when jealousy doesn't just quietly hurt? What if its hidden power secretly destroys everything you've carefully built? Imagine sharing joyful news, a promotion, a significant milestone, or perhaps a relationship, expecting warmth from your best friend, but instead noticing subtle signs of discomfort. Perhaps their smile fades slightly too quickly, their congratulations feel strangely hollow, or they quickly change the topic. Why did that small moment suddenly feel so unsettling? Studies show nearly 80% of jealous individuals mask their envy behind jokes, passive-aggressive comments, or polite skepticism. Your friend might respond jokingly to your new promotion. "Better you than me" sounds stressful, quietly undermining your joy while appearing supportive. Carl Jung called this unconscious mechanism projection, people silently attributing their own insecurities onto others. Your success unintentionally triggers their hidden feelings of inadequacy, quietly provoking resentment that seeps out disguised as humor or mild criticism. Yet jealousy doesn't always manifest through subtle insults. It often emerges as quiet withdrawal. Picture a friend who becomes suddenly distant after your good news, slowly pulling away, becoming less responsive, less emotionally present. They don't openly criticize you, they silently disappear. Jungian psychology explains this emotional retreat as their shadow self avoiding discomfort. Your happiness quietly reminds them of their own neglected ambitions, causing them to unconsciously distance themselves rather than confront their hidden pain. Jungian expert James Hollis described people ruled by hidden envy as living fugitive lives, quietly escaping their true selves by secretly punishing others with emotional withdrawal. Their silence becomes a subtle weapon, quietly punishing your happiness and secretly damaging your relationship without confrontation. Think carefully now. Have you experienced these subtle betrayals? A friend's playful sarcasm that quietly wounded, or emotional withdrawal when you most needed support? Recognizing these hidden symptoms doesn't merely help you understand others, it protects your relationships from silently deteriorating beneath unnoticed envy. Yet what if jealousy grows beyond subtle harm? What if it secretly gains enough power to silently tear apart the relationships you treasure most? Imagine a respected executive named Raj, who dedicated decades to mentoring younger colleagues, proudly shaping their careers and reputations. His entire identity was built around nurturing others, his legacy one of generosity and guidance. Yet, when Leo, his most talented protege, started exceeding everyone's expectations, including Raj's, something quietly began unraveling inside him. Raj felt a painful, quiet discomfort every time Leo succeeded, a feeling he didn't fully understand or acknowledge. Slowly, silently, jealousy began controlling Raj's actions. Without conscious awareness, Raj found himself subtly diminishing Leo's achievements. In meetings, he carefully framed Leo's successes as mere team efforts, quietly reducing Leo's individual recognition. On the surface, Raj appeared supportive, but inside, envy was quietly undermining everything he once believed about himself. His shadow self had silently turned mentorship into hidden rivalry, kindness into quiet betrayal. Carl Jung described this phenomenon as the shadow at work, unacknowledged envy quietly sabotaging our best intentions. Jungian analyst Marion Woodman called these hidden actions arrows fired silently from our unconscious shadows, wounding those closest to us. Raj wasn't consciously trying to harm Leo. Instead, his unconscious jealousy quietly dictated behavior that betrayed his own deepest values, eroding trust and damaging their relationship profoundly. Yet the hidden cost of jealousy extended far beyond Leo. It silently destroyed Raj himself. His envy quietly dismantled the legacy he'd proudly built, isolating him from genuine relationships, leaving him emotionally conflicted and haunting him with guilt he could neither explain nor escape. Ask yourself honestly, have you ever allowed hidden envy to quietly sabotage a relationship you truly valued? Raj's story mirrors our own hidden struggles, reminding us jealousy isn't merely painful, it quietly destroys the very foundations of our happiness and integrity. But what happens when jealousy's quiet destruction goes even deeper? When it pushes us toward unimaginable darkness, causing irreversible damage we can't undo? Chapter 4. Shadows Revealed Through Myths. Sometimes ancient myths vividly reveal truths we fear facing directly in our own lives. An old African myth, rarely heard today, perfectly captures jealousy's frightening power. The haunting story of Anansi, the clever yet envious spider whose secret envy quietly destroyed everything he loved. Anansi envied his friend Dew, whose abundant harvest and popularity brought him admiration and respect. Driven secretly by jealousy, Anansi deceitfully advised Dew to destroy his prized crops, promising richer returns that never came. Quietly, Anansi rejoiced in Dew's downfall, but envy wasn't satisfied. When Anansi saw Dew hold a lavish funeral for his supposedly deceased mother, showering her grave with extravagant gifts, envy twisted deeper within him. Secretly blinded by jealousy, Anansi wished his own mother would die, convinced it would earn him similar attention and wealth. Consumed silently by envy, he committed a horrifying act, taking his own mother's life. Only afterward did he discover Dew's mother had never died. It was an elaborate ruse to reveal Anansi's envy. Jealousy had deceived Anansi utterly, turning friendship into betrayal, admiration into hatred, and love into devastating loss. Carl Jung would explain Anansi's tragic downfall as envy's ultimate takeover, the shadow gaining total control over reason and morality. This ancient myth powerfully reminds us jealousy isn't merely silently harmful, it quietly possesses the power to push us into unimaginable darkness, destroying everything we cherish most deeply. But Anansi's story isn't simply an ancient fable, it vividly illustrates modern truths. How often do we quietly sabotage friendships and relationships, unknowingly guided by hidden jealousy we refuse to acknowledge? How often does envy secretly twist our perception, silently turning us against those we claim to love? Reflect deeply. Are there times jealousy has quietly influenced your actions, subtly harming relationships you once treasured? Anansi's chilling tale compels us to recognize that hidden envy can silently drive us to damage what we most cherish, turning love and friendship into quiet tragedy. Yet jealousy doesn't always push us towards such extremes. It often wears a far subtler disguise. What if envy hides quietly behind kindness itself, wearing the mask of friendship, silently eroding bonds we believed were unbreakable? Chapter 5. When jealousy wears the mask of friendship. Have you ever experienced a friendship that quietly hurt you, where kindness subtly concealed resentment and playful jokes secretly masked envy? Jonathan and Mark's friendship appeared unbreakable. Built over decades, their bond had weathered college, marriages, careers, and life's challenges, yet beneath their shared laughter, hidden jealousy slowly and silently corroded their closeness. Mark achieved consistent success in his career, enjoyed a stable family life, and pursued fulfilling hobbies. Jonathan's journey was quietly marked by disappointment, career setbacks, financial struggles, and a painful divorce. Outwardly, Jonathan seemed supportive, congratulating Mark on every achievement. But beneath each joke lay quiet bitterness. When Mark excitedly announced an anniversary trip abroad, Jonathan casually teased, "Must be nice to throw money at a midlife crisis." Mark laughed uneasily, sensing something hidden beneath the humor, yet unable to name it. Jonathan's envy surfaced again when Mark began pursuing guitar, fulfilling a long-held passion. Jonathan playfully jabbed, "Guess there's no age limit on seeking attention," subtly diminishing Mark's joy. Each joke, seemingly harmless, quietly chipped away at Mark's happiness, subtly eroding their friendship from within. Carl Jung described such behavior as unconscious projection, Jonathan silently attributing his own hidden insecurities onto Mark. His sarcastic jokes weren't merely playful, they were quiet cries of internal pain, unconscious expressions of his sadness over dreams he'd secretly abandoned. Jungian analyst James Hollis referred to this as living a fugitive life, silently escaping internal pain by quietly sabotaging those closest to us. Yet Jonathan's hidden envy didn't merely harm Mark, it quietly imprisoned Jonathan himself. Jealousy silently isolated him, preventing genuine intimacy, secretly damaging the friendship he valued and leaving him emotionally disconnected. Each subtle barb drove Jonathan deeper into emotional isolation, quietly transforming admiration into resentment, friendship into rivalry, and joy into bitterness. Reflect deeply. Have you ever masked jealousy behind humor, quietly undermining relationships you valued? Jonathan and Mark's story compels us to honestly confront jealousy's hidden masks. Recognizing envy doesn't openly attack, it silently erodes trust, quietly poisoning relationships we genuinely cherish. But what if acknowledging jealousy openly could quietly transform this hidden enemy into our greatest ally, guiding us toward emotional freedom? Chapter 6. Facing the shadow to free ourselves. What if jealousy isn't merely destructive? What if hidden within its pain lies our most profound opportunity for growth? Carl Jung believed envy silently signals neglected dreams and hidden potential, quietly urging us towards self-awareness and authenticity. Yet openly facing jealousy feels frightening precisely because it reveals truths we'd rather deny. But imagine the emotional freedom possible if we courageously confronted this silent shadow. Marie-Louise von Franz, Jung's insightful disciple, described acknowledging jealousy as gaining a second sight, an opportunity to clearly see what we secretly admire in others, and finally embrace it within ourselves. When we openly recognize the envy we've quietly projected, jealousy immediately loses its hidden power. Instead of secretly resenting someone else's happiness, we become inspired, clearly recognizing and pursuing our own neglected ambitions. Robert A. Johnson, another brilliant Jungian analyst, affirmed that reclaiming our hidden projections, honestly admitting jealousy, empowers us to finally live authentically. Imagine the freedom in clearly acknowledging, yes, I envy that person, and using that honest admission not as self-judgment, but as motivation toward fulfilling our deepest desires. Right now, before this video ends, take one simple yet powerful action. Clearly name something you've secretly envied in another person's life. Write it down plainly. Tomorrow, commit to taking the smallest step toward achieving that desire yourself. This immediate, courageous act transforms jealousy from quiet sabotage into powerful clarity and genuine motivation, quietly freeing you from silent bitterness. Carl Jung assured us that facing our shadow, the hidden parts we deny, could quietly liberate us, guiding us from silent suffering toward genuine authenticity. Imagine a life no longer quietly controlled by envy, inspired instead of wounded by others' success, openly embracing the dreams you've long hidden from yourself. Ultimately, jealousy isn't your enemy, it's your misunderstood guide, quietly leading you toward emotional liberation, authentic fulfillment, and genuine happiness. Because the moment you courageously acknowledge jealousy, the moment you openly face your shadow, you reclaim power over your happiness, finally living a life inspired by clarity and authenticity, free from envy's silent control.